Hello, my friends. My name is Rajalalana. I'm Vedic astrologer and numerologer, life coach, and spiritual practitioner. I've been in Krishna consciousness for more than 10 years. And the basis of all of the knowledge that I'm using in my practice is Bhagavad Gita as it is. So today I would like to discuss with you verse number 47 from chapter 2. And this is a very important verse which teaches us the practical knowledge of wisdom knowledge, I would say, that we can apply in our daily life. So Bhagavad Gita Chapter 2, it's a summary of all of the knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita, and I call Bhagavad Gita is a consultation of God towards his friend and disciple Arjuna. And this consultation is given within 45 minutes when the Lord shares all of the universal wisdom that we can use in our daily life if we properly understand it. So I find verse 247 is very important and very practical. Listen to it. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruit of your action. Never consider yourself the cause or the results of your activity, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So there are three things here that we need to follow in order to be happy, successful, and I would say detached meaning independent of the suffering or of the enjoyment of what we are getting, because this attachment causes us in any ways a lot of suffering from both spiritual and psychological points of view. So the first thing here is you have the right to perform your prescribed duty. Basically, all of us have our prescribed duties. We have the role, and within those roles, we have our responsibilities. So we have that right to perform our responsibilities well. So this is first thing. But we are not entitled to the fruits of actions. And a lot of people ask, okay, if I'm not entitled to the fruits of actions, so why would I act? Here is the answer. We should act for the matter of the duty, not for the matter of results. In psychology, there is such a thing called dependency, which is unhealthy dependency upon the result. So this unhealthy dependency causes our hormone system produce a lot of dopamine, and this dopamine makes us very dependent, chemically dependent on the result. So it's a very unhealthy condition, and in this case, if we become dependent on this chemical state of mind, hormone, right? We become really, basically, attached to that feeling, first of all. And we produce the same environment around ourselves. For example, if you have kids, right, you will be raising kids in the same state of mind, thinking, oh, if you have the result, you should act. If you don't have the result, forget about your responsibility. So this is not, first of all, not the right thinking, and secondly, it causes us to suffer because it creates not only the wrong motivation, but also the environment within our body, like chemical environment, as I have already explained, which makes us dependent on that chemical to be always in our blood, and we cannot be happy. And that's why Krishna gives us this wonderful rule. First of all, is the right to perform, you have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of your actions. So do not be motivated by the fruits, be motivated by the process of performing your prescribed duty. And that process will give you happiness and satisfaction. Next, never consider yourself the cause of the results. Okay, and that comes already from the attachment to the result, right? So if we are not attached to the result, it's easy for us not to consider ourselves the cause of this result, because if you're not connecting yourself with the result, it's impossible to consider yourself the cause of the result. And then you would say, who is the cause of this result? And later on, Krishna will be explaining that he is the cause of everything. He is the basis of everything. He is the source of everything. Basically, we should understand there is a certain order, right? We are not here the main creatures who created everything around us. We are in service of that force, right? Of that personality that created everything which surrounds us. And we serve that personality by performing our prescribed duty. So all of the results belong to the Lord. All of the results. If you understand that, you are free to go. You're free to be at your best, and at the same time, you are detached from the results. And your body, as a reaction to that mentality, to that consciousness, will not produce the hormones would make you attached, that make you dependent on the result. You will stop kind of craving, starving for those results. So this is very important, because Bhagavad Gita, it is the highest level of psychology you can ever see in your life. So never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So never to be attached to not doing your duty. This is the main cause of demotivation. Why people give up, why people demotivate themselves, why people lose the taste towards their responsibilities. Like, for example, they're raising kids, but kids are not growing up happy, or they're not, growing up, for example, spiritual, right? Or they're working hard, like people work hard, but the result at work is not coming, or the management doesn't appreciate them, or something else is happening. So the result is not coming. People usually give up. They stop performing their duty. They stop becoming good parents. They stop showing good proper behavior, good example, not good results, right? Why? Because they were attached to the results, and when that result is not coming, they decide not to perform their duty. So, see how nicely it is kind of stated here. It's a nice chain, right? If you are not attached to the results of your activities and do not consider yourself the cause of the results, it's very easy it's very easy to kind of continue performing your prescribed duty, even though you're not getting the proper result. Because, like, for example, there is a nice example that my teacher gave during the class that he conducted on this verse. So he said, mother is taking care of a sick child, and there is no guarantee that the sick child will become healthy, but it doesn't stop the mother to take care of the child. The mother is not attached to the result. Imagine if mother is attached to the result, and she will not perform her duty if she knows that this sickness will not be cured. It's a neglect, correct? Therefore, if we follow these rules that Krishna is giving us in this 2.47, Bhagavad Gita 2.47, you will see how our life get transformed. You will see how happy we become. And I have several comments here. Do your duty precisely, keeping the result into mind, but be the same in irrespective of the result. Yeah, and it's not to be irrespective, right? We understand that the result belongs to the Lord, and we are doing it as a matter of service. So basically when we do first things first, correct? I'm also a certified trainer for the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and there is a very nice rule for the effectiveness: do first things first. So there is something which is important, which belongs to us, which is within our circle of concern, and there is something which is out of our circle of concern. Like, for example, weather. We do not control the weather, but we control our reaction toward that weather, right? So we have our duty to take care of the things within our scope of responsibility, but we don't know how things will happen in the future, what will be the consequence. Still, when the consequence comes, we react in a proper way, because we know our duty, and that's called responsibility, and that's called respect towards our own actions and our own responsibilities. So this is very important, right? We are not kind of disregarding something, but we understanding what is our scope of responsibility and what is not our area of concern or area of influence. Result is important. Bhagavad Gita, favor the duty and the fruits prejudice your mind. So first, do your duty perfectly without keeping result into account. Yeah, that's right. So if we are not keeping our results into account, then we become free of basically performing Lord's responsibility, because it's his responsibility to give what he decides is good for us, what he decides is developing us. And that's a very good point. Duty and results are so relative together. Yes, that's right. So duty and results are relative, but we do not depend on the result because we cannot predict the results, right? We did not produce this world. This world doesn't belong to us, right? We are a part of this world. We basically live in the world of the Lord, and Lord has the results, and Lord decides what is good to give and what is not good to give. This is basically, we live in the care of the Lord. We are not the Lord's, right? We are not controlling. Attaining the results, meaning being in control. And the main point of Bhagavad Gita is to free us from that controlling mentality. Because if we think that we are in control, we exclude God and we exclude ourselves as the living entities, as the souls, as spiritual souls, parts and parcels of the Lord. Because if we are in control, then all others are our parts and parcels, which is not true, right? So thank you so much for such nice comments. And today I would like to summarize Bhagavad Gita 2.47, what we have discussed today. We have discussed 3 major points here: that we have the right to perform your prescribed duty, and we need to be motivated. So we need to do all that we can to motivate ourselves. We need to get the education, knowledge, mastery in the field of our prescribed duty. It can be parenthood, it can be our profession, it can be spiritual science, everything, because we are souls. We have the roles, and we have our material body, and within every scope of response area, we have our prescribed duties. Second thing, we are not entitled to the fruits of our actions. So just be free from that, right? Be happy just because you have your prescribed duties, and don't be attached to the results that those duties produce. Just if you see that the results are not good, we are still acting in the best way in order to satisfy the Lord and people around us, because people around us, they are a reflection of what the Lord thinks about us, right? And then never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and that's the consequence, right? If we are not attached to the fruits of the actions, then we cannot be the cause, because the cause of all causes is Krishna. So we should understand that, and never be attached to not doing your duty. And basically, if we follow the previous 2 rules, the latest rule is very easy to perform. Okay, and a few more comments. Simple interpretation of this verse is based on mean as means in our control, but result is dependent upon the duty. So don't think on that. Yeah, so basically, we are not in control, that's correct, and result depending on the duty. No, the result is not depending on the duty. The result depends on the Lord's decision. So as I said, mother can take care of the child, right? And he gave all of the prescribed medication, but the Lord decides basically to give the health to the child, or to prolong the disease, or basically it's out of our circle of concern. We cannot influence the result, but we can influence what we are doing within that circumstance. Means in our control. So think about controllables. I am reading Bhagavad Gita since childhood. You are doing great. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for participating. And yeah, if you have further down, like later on, if you have any questions or comments, you can put them underneath this video in the commentary. I will be posting this video on my Instagram. And thank you again for your attention, and I will look forward to seeing you again. All the best.